Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Welcome to episode 2 of the OKTAGON MMA podcast, brought to you in conjunction with Combat Sports UK. I'm Lewis Glover, and I'm joined once again by the voice of OKTAGON MMA, Bryan Lacey. What's going on, man?
I'm good, mate. Already at episode 2. How time flies, mate. Look at this landmark episode that we're about to drop. But I am excited about it, though. This one I am obviously more excited about just because of what we're going to be, chatting through that's coming up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been buzzing for this card, and it just keeps getting better and better. And in our first episode, you teased us with an upcoming announcement. You wouldn't give anything away, but subsequently we found out that the inaugural OKTAGON flyweight title is going to be on the line, headlining the event between the Welshman Aaron Abbey and UFC veteran Elias Garcia. And that's just a beautiful cherry on top to what is an already stacked and loaded card. How long had that been in the works for before it was able to announce? Give us a little background info to us, that us mere mortals don't get to see.
So obviously I am very good friends with Aaron Abbey, and as soon as I joined OKTAGON, which is, God, when was it? OKTAGON 22. So that's 2.5 years ago, something like that. Straight away, he was messaging me going, "What about? Do they have flyweights?" And there was no flyweight division. You know, OKTAGON was they're still growing other divisions. Even the bantamweight one wasn't really prevalent then. But as we came into this year, we were talking about expanding the divisions because we're getting more events, and flyweight was on the cards. And for me, there might be other flyweights out there that maybe have been in the UFC, maybe have been in PFL or Bellator. But you tell me a tougher, better story, more more of a superhero that you could possibly want as one of the main sort of fighters in a division than Aaron Abbey. Because I don't think across the sport there's going to be many stories, if any, that match up to what he has been through outside the cage, and yet what he is still able to do inside it. So yeah, it was a long time coming, the flyweight division. This year, when we were talking about expanding and going to different places, we knew we need more fighters. So then we need more divisions. But for me, for it to come round and be the headline fight and be for a title in the UK, that's magic.
It's pretty special. You said it on the first episode. I'm sure, it'll come up time and time again, but we love this sport. It's exciting. Anything can happen. But what drives it is the stories of the fighters, these superheroes who get in the cage and put it all on the line for our entertainment. So for those people who are listening who don't know a little bit of about Aaron Abbey's backstory, could you just, especially as you're so close with him, give people a background of what he's battled and overcome over the course of his life and is still a professional cage fighter?
Yeah, this is it is superhuman. We've used that phrase a couple of times already, but he was born with cystic fibrosis. So and especially because he's 30, I think 31 now. Back in the early days of understanding it as a condition, they truly did it. So it was almost a death sentence before you'd taken your first breath. So he was told, his parents were told, let him enjoy his life as much as he can, but he probably won't make it to 21. That was his life expectancy. So that was before they'd even held him properly in their arms. That was the news that they had. His doctors also told him at that time or told his parents at that time that don't put him in sport. Don't put any extra pressure on the lungs because it's probably going to make the condition worse. We need to manage it with medication. We need to make him comfortable, and that's the route. His dad is quite well known in the world of rugby over in Wales. He's a hell of a character. His uncle is, again, into rugby, but also into martial arts. And they basically said, F that. They said, they know how important sport is. As a kid growing up in the UK, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, how important football is, how important rugby is, not just for playing the sport, but for social interaction, for being. So they went, no, the sport will be part of his life. And through that, it actually made his condition better. The fitter he got, the more he was able to manage, the more he was able to cope with it, to the point where he has now carved out a place in his life where he's a professional athlete. fighting at the highest level. He has his own gym where he trains and inspires other young fighters, great fighters over there, IPC Wrexham, young kids. He is now an ambassador for the Cystic Fibrosis Fighting to Breed charity. And again, it's one of these, just one example of him overcoming odds to become extreme, to become excellent, to become great at something. On top of that, about 3 years ago, 2017, I think it was 2018, a bit longer than that, then 5 years ago, diagnosed with testicular cancer. And because of his condition, you can't go through the normal route. So he tried everything outside of that, all the holistic stuff, all the whether it's diet, whether it's I don't know what other stuff that he was using exactly, but they tried everything that they could to manage it and try and defeat the cancer through that. It didn't work. I remember going to a UKFC championships event, and he is one of the main people up there, and I hadn't seen him for a little while. And I watched a dead man walk into the room. I watched one of my best friends come in, and he was a skeleton of a man. The only thing that you would recognize of him was the smile, which was there throughout. This amazing energy and smile. He was still cornering however many fighters that night, as well as help running the event. And you've got to think of how tired. I mean, he looked like he had no energy, but anybody that he was with, he gave as much as he could. He was basically told he had to go on to the traditional forms of medicine if he's to stand any chance. But we were told, Aaron Abbey will not be here in maybe a month, maybe 2 months, 3 months max. So we were told, his parents were once again told, prepare for your life without your child, without your son, without your best friend. And once again, he overcame it. He went through it, fought through it with a smile on his face. Was told, though, he would never fight again because it's such a toll on his body that, the whole thing from the condition he lives with to the treatment and the depths in which he was close to death from the cancer. And you can't say no to Aaron Abbey. You can't say I can't to Aaron Abbey because 1 year after, and it was almost a year to the day after he went into remission, and he was told he was clear. He made the walk. He fought on UKFC. He headlined the card. It was a hell of a fight. He drew in that fight. But it wasn't about that. It was about making that walk, making all that. And since then, he's fought in Cage Warriors. He's had some amazing victories on UAE Warriors. And next up, he gets to fight for a world title. This is something he's always dreamt about. You've got to think about how many things this kid has had taken away, and he still hasn't quit. You've got to think about how many times this kid has had the odds stacked against him, and he still shows up believing that he can make something magic happen. And on November 4th, he says it's kind of like it almost feels like it's meant to be. There's like a fairy tale ending because it's a huge show. It's a world title. It's against a great competitor in Elias Garcia. He's on a three fight win streak or something. I think at the minute he's been in UFC Combate Global. But once again, and win or lose, Aaron Abbey is a champion. Win or lose, he is one of the best role models, one of the best friends you could ever wish to, best humans you could ever wish to come across on this planet. But on November 4th, it's going to be, will it be a fairy tale ending? And the fact it's for gold is just makes it more exciting.
Wow. I mean, I've got goosebumps just hearing you talk about that. And if anyone deserves it, it is certainly Aaron Abbey. And all the credit in the world to his mum and dad who
And his
said,
uncle. Do
and his
not
uncle,
forget his uncle.
sure.
And this
Who's-
and again, his uncle Julian, right? And this is just again, you think about how many bumps this family have had. His uncle Julian is one of the reasons that he got into martial arts. He is one of the reasons that he is the man he is today. And unfortunately, he suffered a major stroke. I think it was last year or the year before. So you talk about the family going through that, and again, he's got major issues following the back of that. But this is where you learn life is not fair. This is where you learn, you can't predict what tomorrow will bring. And this is why whenever, and I genuinely use this phrase, I think when I have bad days, and we all have bad days, no matter how good our life looks on Instagram, there are moments where I'm, stuck in it, I'm getting frustrated. And then I actually think, what would Aaron Abbey do? That's in my head, not what would Jesus do, not what would Aaron Abbey do? Because if that family can come together and go through all of that and still be who they are and still, be as positive and fight for everything that they can literally fight for everything that they can get, then well, who am I to get angry about a bill that turns up early or whatever else? It's inspiring, mate. And that again is the whole thing about fighters for me. They inspire me. It doesn't have to be a story as crazy as that, but just to, peek behind what makes them them, what makes them do this type of thing is what gets my juices flowing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And win, lose or draw come November 4th, I think Aaron Aby's legacy is going to far exceed anything that he does in the cage inside the AO arena on that night. But I'm pretty sure everyone is going to be pulling for him inside of,
Except Elias Garcia. That's
except Elias Garcia, Alexis Elias Garcia. But yeah, even some of Elias Garcia's closest friends might hear that story and go, "Bloody hell!"
yeah,
If he's going to lose to someone,
yeah. You just picture his corner turning up in Wrexham t-shirt.
yeah, they're on the Wrexham bandwagon as well. They've been watching the Hollywood celebrities turn around the football club. Brilliant. I mean, that's a main event. Also, in the co-main event, I believe it's going to be, or at least towards the top of the bill, we've got the guys who have been coming through the Stage to the Cage program, Jake Wickenden versus Paul Smith. And I tell you what, I have thoroughly enjoyed every moment of that programming. And I didn't know anything about Jake Wickenden. I just knew that when it was announced that he was a reality TV star, he'd done all of these things. And quite frankly, my initial opinion was, I bet this guy is going to be a bit of a knob. And I tell you what, he seems like an absolute diamond of a fella. I have enjoyed every second of watching him bare his soul and his personality and everything that he's about on this television show. You've spent time with both of these guys. Just tell everyone who's listening a little bit about Jake and a little bit about Paul and what they've undertaken to turn up and compete in the AO arena.
It's so funny what you say because Jake says the same. So, and again, when you look at these reality TV stars being in the spotlight for a brief period when that show that they were on is considered a success, pushing that through into maybe doing panto or doing whatever is considered a success of making reality into a TV into a full career. But he has quite literally obviously been in some of the biggest reality TV shows consistently, but he's made his own career as well. He's now an actor, singer, dancer, presenter. He does a lot of presenting now. And he is somebody that he knows exactly what people think of him. They see the teeth, they see the hair, they see the body and how he looks and what. And the best thing is he is as down to earth as you
Yep.
could want. And there's no ego. There's never been anything where he's like he's kind of asked for something because he thinks he deserves it. He has worked for everything, and seeing how he has approached this stage to the cage and the preparation for this fight, you can see that's how he does everything. He gives his everything to it, and that for me is great. And again, I said it before, to get two guys that are both giving as much as each other. They're not, one's not flying ahead and dedicating, the other one's taking a piss and just training every so often, but to have both of them fully in, both of them looking to represent the sport, both of them looking to go on the journey, to understand what it is like to be a fighter. And they truly have dedicated themselves to it on top of doing everything else that they do, whether it's the shows or the appearances or whatever else. So it's a great part of that series for me, that people are, respecting what they're giving this. They're understanding, oh, there's no trash talk. We're not doing what the KSI and the whatever happened before. It's not
Yeah.
based on that. This is based on shining a light on the sport, shining a light on the people that do it, educating and bringing in a wider audience to why it's such a great sport, why it's growing so quick. And to have those two as personalities as well, because Jake is gold on camera. Like he's funny, he's natural, he's open, like he does ridiculous stuff. He's got no line where I've never had it once where he sent me a message afterwards, and I've worked with other people before and they go, "Oh, can you make sure you don't include that?" Or could you cut that, or send me the edit beforehand, because none of it. It is just being get on with it, have fun, be me. And that's great. And the same with Paul. Paul is um he's so unique as a comedian because usually you've got one of the two big agencies behind you, either Off the Curb or Avalon. They own all the TV shows, everything from your Mock the Weeks to your Taskmasters to your Live at the Apollo. So to get to them, or to get to the stage that they can get you to in your career, you usually have to piggyback or give up, sell some of your soul to one of those two agencies. And he's just done it on his own. He's just been him, worked the clubs, built this
Yep.
amazing thing where he's great at the audience interaction and everyone loves it. And then on top of that, he is, as down to earth. He's a family man, and he's just a beautiful soul. So, as much as I love how much we've shone a light on the sport, I also love how these guys have shone within the series, because we've not fixed anything, we've not set anything up. It truly, it really is. We turn up with a camera. We never say, "Oh, we need this," or "We need that," or "Could you say this about them?" We turn up. They be them. We sit like a fly on the wall and film the rest of it. And from that, it's. I think it's one of the best things Octagon have made, especially with these reality TV programs. Not talking about Octagon Challenge, which is a full production, but these fly on the wall documentaries. They've done maybe 7 or 8 of them. And Pavel and Andre look at this, and they're proud of them as well. So it's worth watching. I think you only have to watch a couple of episodes to start liking it and to get into it. You don't need to
Mhm.
know lots about the sport, because they will show you. They're learning as well. Jake had no ground game when he started, so learning about that. Paul and his striking, his elbows were up here when he was punching to start with. And I remember looking at it to start, and I said, "Oh no, they're gonna. This is gonna be." But over the evolution and through the series, I literally finished doing the voiceovers and the uh, scripting for the last episode on Friday, and so I got to watch it, and I came around, and we do shots at the start and shots at the end, and watching how far they've come fitness wise, physique
Yeah.
wise. They've come down from over 90 kilograms. They're going to have to make 77.6, and we've even offered. We've said, should we put it up so it's less? And they've both gone, no. But we
Wow.
want to do the whole thing. We want the whole journey. We want the whole experience. So yeah, it's insane. And if you're going to ask me who I think is going to win, it's I can't answer it, because I flip daily, because Jake has kind of tried to absorb the whole of MMA, and he's such an athlete that he's gone so fast. And Paul has focused on the fundamentals and a lot of grappling with Blackledge and
Yep.
Andy Clamp and James Lewis and those guys up there. Um, so it's one of those where you look at the styles of the fight and you go, this could go anywhere. If one of them gasses early, and then then Paul could get on top, then it's his night. If Jake
Yep.
can keep the distance and use those crazy strikes and his athleticism, it could be his night. Or we could have happened what Carlos Vermola did on Octagon 47, a guy who hasn't knocked anybody out for 30 years, hits with a left hook and drops somebody in 7 seconds and wins a belt. So, yeah, fascinating and fun, mate.
Absolutely. And you said I can't pick either. I just know both guys are going to go in there, give whatever they have, and then afterwards they're going to shake hands, have a beer together, and espouse the greatness of MMA to their new and wide audience. It's going to be tremendous. And the variables are, as you said, Jake is younger, he's more athletic, he's probably going to come in better shape and be more explosive. On the other hand, Paul has got this, determination, this grind, this work ethic, this stubbornness to him that's
He's a
allowed him to
scouser.
reach.
He's a
He's a scout, of
scouser.
course, right? So to allow him to reach the pinnacle of stand up comedy. And second of all, which I don't think I've seen mentioned yet, but Paul is used to walking out in front of 10, 15,000 people and commanding a room and
Yeah.
knowing what that feels like and managing the adrenaline. Jake's been on TV and he's maybe even more famous, but you don't have that immediate feedback. It comes later on. So very different variables mixing into this fight, and it's so impressive to see what they've been doing, and I'm very, very excited to see how it shapes out. And I hope when I'm there on November 4th, I get an opportunity to tell that to both of them in person. It'd be great to do that, because both of them have been very, very inspiring.
I reckon they'll be mates after this. This is the thing.
Yes.
They both will have gone through this journey. They both have had their ups and downs. They both had injuries. They both had moments where they're thinking, "Why the hell am I doing this?" But they're both going to make that walk. They're both going to beat the hell out of each other, and they're so similar. They are so similar. Like, just their approaches to stuff. It's the reason that they are who they are, and I look forward to the post after the post fight press conference. I look forward to watching them two crack a beer or sit down together, because I think that will be the start of actually a very good friendship between the
Yep,
two.
I can see it. I can see it. You mentioned before Octagon Challenge, another one of the big productions that's going on. The final of Octagon Challenge is going to be on this card. We, of course, don't know the results of that yet, so stay tuned to find out more. But we had a hell of a first semi-final with the results kept on a teaser. I think I have a lean which way it's going to go, but you never know when it goes to a judge's decision who we might see in the final there. And I've just got to say, again, it's been fantastic. And I just from a audience perspective, we just have to say thank you to you, Brian, for really doing the hard yards and dining out at fancy Italian restaurants. It seems you've really been rolling the sleeves up, digging ditches, doing the hard work alongside the
Thanks.
fighters to
Thanks.
make this show what it can be.
Honestly, I think thank you for pointing that out. I mean, there's blood, there's been sweat spilled in that cage, but you try and choose under pressure under camera whether you have like a Sauvignon Blanc or you go for a Chardonnay from a local vineyard. You try and make those choices on TV, mate. You try, really.
I don't know if I could, and it's that quick action under pressure, which is why I think Andre and Pavel need to be maybe looking at giving you a raise and promotion for the kind of quick thinking and decision making that really exemplifies leadership.
I can't. My back is sore from carrying that show. Forget the 8 guys that absolutely gave everything. It was nuts. But you know what? That meal thing was, and we only showed a bit of it. And sometimes when you watch the edit, and I understand you can only have a certain amount in the show, but there was bits there, and there were moments where, and because again, you see the Irish team, as soon as they get any English person in their sight, they're on them. Whether
Yeah.
it's Bengalese or whether it's whoever it might be, Jake McHugh or whatever. But um, when there was no English people there, apart from me, who has the Irish passport as well, they went at each other. It was non-stop. So at one point, everyone was on top of Arman Hergseg, and I was sat and I was watching. I was like, "Oh, you just do this all the time."
Yeah, it doesn't matter who it is.
It doesn't matter. Then it went to Matty Elliott, and then they were on Frimpong, and then Frimpong was on Aaron McDonald, and I was just watching this, and they do it in groups. So it was I wish we'd shown that, but again, it was you can only show so much. But it was a nice moment because I know that the English got to do the flying in the plane and all that sort of stuff. But watching those guys sit down and eat that food and be in the restaurant and just have that time away, it was one of my favorite moments on the show. And we had lots of jokes back and forth between us, always, as you could expect. But to spend a little bit of time with them and to talk to them properly at that meal was really nice.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. And of course, one of the coaches from that Irish team, Mr. Shamrock, is competing on this card against Yaroslav Pokorny. And this is going to be an interesting one because they do not like each other.
They do not like each other. It's again, if you want to get ready for this fight, just follow them both on social media because they have been going for each other for a long time. Pokorny was supposed to fight Shem in the Stranica in July. That came off because of an injury. Then we managed to re-sign it, and I was with Shem. It was actually that was it. We were at the Octagon Challenge. I don't know what you call it. So the hotel we were staying at. So Shem was just down the corridor from me in his room, and he gave me a knock, and he said, "I've just been offered this guy as a fight. What do you think of it?" And he came in and he sat down. I said, "Oh, let me show you his last walkout." And I didn't even click. It didn't click in my head. I said he's got one of these really intense. Because Pokorny does this thing where he kind of screams and then he marches to the cage, and it's like one of his things. But in his last fight, when he fought Jan Cherokee in Ostrava, Cherokee is from the army, so he came out with a military escort. Pokorny's from the police, so he came out with the police around him, all like done up in the thing.
Yeah.
So I was genuinely trying to show him the fight, but I wanted to show him the walkout because of the energy he brings. And he went, whoa, 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 why has he got the police with him? And I said, because he's a police officer. And he just went, that's it. He didn't have to watch any of the fight.
That's it. I'll fight him.
He didn't ask about anything about his skills, his record, where is he dangerous, who's he beaten. He just saw the 4 police officers getting ready to walk him. And as soon as I said, oh, no, he's from the police, he just went, yeah, oh, that's it. I'm done. And that, for me, is the underlying thing of this story.
Yes.
Pokorny has been going at him. He's made like insinuations that he takes drugs or he's a criminal. And Shem is like, I've been at a restaurant with Shem. It's almost annoying because he checks the water, even if it's bottled water. He'll check the water. He checks the the food where it comes from. He doesn't eat meat. He doesn't, if you have a Coke Zero, he gives you the whole speech about why you should. He's like his body is his temple, quite literally. He's like he is the most I don't know what you'd call it. It's not vegan, but he's just so dedicated to his bodily health that so when Pokorny's doing all that, you're thinking, well, he's just assuming or making assumptions. Then Shem's going back at him doing all these, and the pictures are hilarious. We'll just go to their social media. You'll see it will get worse as it gets up.
Oh yeah.
And then Pokorny put one out and he said it was a, and again, I am the messenger, so I'm telling you what this thing said, and it just simply said, "I wish your mother had swallowed you." And that was the line, I think, where Shem was having fun, and then he literally just said, "Right, don't ever mention my mother again." And I felt, even speaking to him after that, that there it was already intense, but after that, now those words have come out of his fingers, out of his mouth, and online. I think, yeah, Shem is going to look to try and punish Picorni, but Picorni's so experienced. He's got many more fights than Shem. He's been in the game for a very long time. He trains under Patrick Kinsale, the middleweight champion. His nickname is Jukebox, so it's judo and boxing. That's what he does, judo and boxing. If anyone can find me a fight where Picorni has thrown a single kick, please send it to me, because I don't think I've ever. I've watched and called a lot of his fights, but I don't think I've ever seen him throw a kick. But he is so good, and he brings such intensity into his fights that, you know maybe making Shem angry might make him make a mistake, and that's what you've always got to be careful with all these fights with the big build up. You've always got to be careful that that emotion doesn't spill into the cage and then
Right.
make those mistakes. So I think it's fascinating. I think we're going to have to make sure, because I like the police. It's fine. The people, anyone who does public service or makes that a calling, there are good and bad in this world all over the place.
Yeah.
But 90% of them will have gone in for the right reason. So, but I think this one will be, especially so close to Liverpool, especially because Shem will have a lot of people in the
A
arena with
lot of
him,
people, yeah.
and Picorni is going to find. I think he might stay in his hotel room for most of. But it's must see TV, mate. It's must see TV.
It's going to be great. Another sort of peak matchup in this in the same division, coaching opposite Shem on Challenge, is Akon Wanless, who had an absolutely sensational debut in Octagon MMA in just a few months ago. He's taken on Jakub Barnik, and the winner of this fight might find themselves in a title eliminator, because because the belt is vacant right now. Obviously, a fight is being booked for that. Which also I noticed that Shev, who loves to get active on Twitter, said that both guys, including Bookie, are overrated and crap, or something to that effect. Which is classic Shev Rock. But they've coached against each other on Octagon Challenge, and soon enough they might find each other opposite the cage as well. Who are who
Yeah.
knows? Who
Who
knows
who
where
kno-
this will go?
who knows? But the thing with this fight for Akon Wanless is it's against a really really good fighter. It's
Yeah.
Banik is a finisher. Jay Cuccinello, Ashley Grimshaw, both high level, fought in UFC, Bellator, both experienced martial artists, and he finished them both inside a round. His fight with Cordero which he's got a DQ win for that. That was an illegal kick by Cordero, but it was heating up to be. It was the opening fight in Frankfurt, and it was heating up to be one of the fights of the year easily on that. And he's just dangerous. He's not scared of anyone. He's got that death touch in his punch power, so he doesn't look like a hard hitter. But you just
Hmm.
look at his record, you know he does. Um, and Akon, I thought his performance is definitely was a good debut, but I know how good he is, and I think there were some nerves. I think there was a little bit of desperation to put on a performance or a finish like that, and that Gogo Tachuri was a very tough test, but I think Jakub Banik is a big leap in comparison to him. I think far more dangerous as an opponent. However, Akon is. There's a few athletes I've been lucky enough to kind of catch on the way up, from your PT Yans to your Magomed Sheripovs, Mohamed Mokayev, Leon Edwards, all these people that have flown up, that maybe didn't catch the eye to start with, but when I saw them, I was like, "There's something special about them."
Yep.
I've got the same feeling about Akon Wanless. He is huge for a lightweight. He is
Big boy.
huge. I mean, he skips leg day every day, but he is absolutely huge. He's a nightmare on the ground. His striking is exquisite. He's got personality. He's got a brand. He's got everything you need to be an absolute a star. For me, it's almost mind blowing that he's not already. But I think a fight like this against Bannick, a finish, and they've also put him high up on the card. That shows what they think of
Hmm.
this. So I think
Yep.
he's third or fourth from the top. Um, I think this is, it's a great opponent for him, but he has to stay switched on because he could be a banana skin Bannick. If he catches you, he really can hurt you. But you look at Akon, he is literally training with Leon Edwards, Fabian Edwards, Tom Breeze, day in, day out, day in,
Was.
day out. And, you know, they say how tough around he is. And I just think it's going to take one thing, and I think that litmus paper, and I mean this for the UK market as well as the European market, people will jump on that bandwagon because in the cage he's a beast. Like there's a different energy, you can feel it. Like he is a fighter. He's not just a pretty boy. He really isn't. He's like there was a point in the Octagon Challenge on episode 1 where we introduced the teams, and Aaron McDonald kind of looked Akon up and down, and Akon was all smiles, and that we only showed like 30 seconds of what happened in that interaction, but Akon Akon grew about 6 foot in that, and he didn't let him off the hook, and that for me was like from smiles to if you want to find out, you can find out. There was no joke about
Yeah.
it. So I think this win on UK soil, I hope gives him the platform where he builds the fan base over here, because we might have another megastar in Akon One List, and I think it's almost like one of the best kept secrets
Mhm.
in MMA, because people don't know him and they underestimate him because of everything outside the cage. But I tell you what, seeing him train, coach, seeing him fight, that kid is special.
Certainly is. It's a great matchup, and there's so many more great fights on this card. We won't go into detail on all of them, but we've got top 5 matchup in the division above in welterweight between Alex Lahore and Yon Surdu. We've got a number 1 contender fight in the bantamweight division between former Cage Warriors champion Jack Cartwright and former KSW champion Anton Racic. We've got Scott Askham making his Octagon debut after becoming champion KSW. There are so many great fights on this card. If there was one out of those 3 fights that I've just mentioned, if you had to pick one that you think will catch fire, which one would you choose? And I
How,
know that's a difficult question.
oh, you're a horrible man, mate. I was enjoying this fight, but now you ask me to pick, because I think as a welterweight contest, Yon Surdi versus Lahore is world class. I think it is world class, right? I think that is, they're both in tip sport game changer. They're both exquisite martial artists. They've always put good performances on in the cage, but I think the one to watch is the bantamweight one. That is Anton Racic versus Jack Cartwright. Cartwright fighting just a stone's throw away from where he trains at the Wayfarer Academy, from where he lives. Um, uh, Rose to that bantamweight championship in Cage Wars on a 10-fight win streak. Never lost that belt. Went off to fight in Dana White's Contender Series, and as happens on that show, just didn't put in the performance. Lost the decision. Hasn't fought for a while, but is coming back. For me, he's another kid that I watched, and I remember I was commentating on a show in Manchester, and Sol Rogers brought this little skinny kid in with his glasses and his little tail at the back. And he said to me, he's got dynamite in his hands, and he's one of the best wrestlers, grapplers that the UK have produced. He's been grappling since the age of 5. He's been wrestling since the age of 5. He's represented Great Britain around Europe and won multiple titles in wrestling. Then he got into kickboxing, then boxing. And you look at his knockout power. When he touches you, he's got this thing where you stay hit. I mean, it's not like one of those you shake him off. But he's going to come up against the most experienced guy he's ever fought. I mean, I think Rakic, he's got something like 30 or he's got 28 more fights than him. 28 more professional times he's made that walk and into big promotions. He was the first ever bantamweight champion for KSW, won that title twice. He's an awkward opponent because he's so short. He's like 5'4", 5'5", which I think he's definitely had that measurement in heels because I've been near him. And he's so short and stocky, and he's got that submission record. So you look at it and you look at all those subs that he's got. So, he's 13 of his wins are by submission. However, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think it's something like maybe 4 or 5 years, every fight he's had has gone to a decision. So everyone talks about the danger of his submissions, but as the competition's gone up, it's been harder to find those finishes. And I think this is, without a doubt, one of the most dangerous fights he could take, because you've got a young, hungry Jack Cartwright who can finish you on the ground, who can knock you out, who wants to reestablish himself. And I think because the bantamweight division is not the fullest that we've got, I think if Cartwright handily disposes of Racic or vice versa, then that could be who Felipe Lima fights in his first defense.
think so. And yeah, that's going to be a great fight. Overall, top to bottom, it's going to be an incredible night in Manchester on November 4th. It's on live Channel 4 and the Channel 4 player.
Don't you close this out on me, mate. What I want your fight. What are
Oh,
you looking for, mate? Don't just make it all about me. You're the one on the fringes. I'm deep in the mire. So when you're looking at this, whether it's ones we've talked about or whether it's ones that we haven't touched yet, what is the fight that you go, oh, I have to make sure that I've got my tools down and I'm just watching this one.
man, that's there's a couple. One, I'm really excited for the final fight, the retirement fight of Lee Chadwick, who's just been an absolute staple of the UK MMA scene for a long time, and that'll be a special moment to see. But Stuart Austin, I like the big boys, and Stuart Austin looking to put himself right into the title picture, which is vacant. I know it's being spoken for, and the vacant title will be on the line in a few weeks' time. I'm looking for Stuart Austin to come out and make a statement and make it undeniable he's in that picture to have a crack at the heavyweight championship, and maybe have be able to put himself in a position for when Octagon returns to the UK early, so at some point next year, for
Early,
him
mate.
to
Early next year.
early next year for him to have
Hey,
a crack at the title on home soil. I think that would be magnificent for someone who is okay. Yeah, he's a heavyweight, so he's probably got a few years left in the game. But at 35, for someone who's getting so involved in coaching, it would be incredible to see him get that opportunity and raise a world title on home soil. So yeah, that's one fight I'm really looking forward to.
there you go, mate. There you go.
There we go. Indeed. Right. So I'll get back to wrapping up. People don't want to hear my opinion. They just want they've come. They come for you. They come for
I,
Brian.
all six of them. That's it.
um, Brilliant. Yeah. So as I was saying, you can watch it in the UK on Channel 4 or on the online player. You can watch it across Europe in a range of places or on Octagon TV. Find yourself,
Or come to
the
Manchester. Oh, why not come to
or
Manchester, eh?
get yourself over to Manchester. There are
Yeah.
still some tickets available. The AO Arena is fantastic. I messaged you. I was there for a concert on Tuesday night, doing a little bit of recon, bit of location scouting, and I've got to say, I was impressed.
What was the concert, mate? This is going to tell us a lot.
Luke Combs, country music.
Oh, there you go. I'm down, mate. There you go.
He was superb.
Yeah, my wife will be very jealous. She's a big country and western fan. So there you are.
Ah, lovely. Yeah, no, he was great. It was an awesome event, and I was just the whole time I was thinking, oh, the atmosphere in here when people are throwing leather is going to be absolutely brilliant. But Brian, thank you so much again for your time. Always look forward to doing this, and very much looking forward to November 4th when all of this action is going to go down and all of these questions that we have are going to be answered. So yeah, I can't wait for it, and I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, man.